Welcome, dear viewers, to African Folktales with Ababe, the home of unforgettable stories that teach, thrill, and inspire. Where African stories come alive, filled with wisdom, drama, and lessons that still speak to us today. Now, let's begin our story. Today's tale begins on a lonely railway, where silence hides danger and one wrong step could mean death. This is the close shave that changed a young boy's life forever. On a quiet morning in Ethio's village, 3 boys took a shortcut to school. The railway tracks seemed harmless, until a speeding train turned their path into a death trap. One boy, just 12 years old, ran for his life. What happened next was nothing short of a miracle. This happened in a railway that was lonely, silent, and scary, except for the faint hum of metal echoing through the distance. On one side lay a deep, bottomless ditch, the kind that swallows a person whole, leaving nothing but screams no one would ever hear. On the other, sharp iron rails stretched endlessly, where one mistake could mean being crushed by a speeding train. This was not a place for children, yet, this is where Chima and his friends found themselves. One wrong step, one slip, and death was certain. But fate had a twisted plan, a plan that would scar a boy for life, destroy his mother's future, and leave behind a lesson you will never forget. Stay with me, because what happened next will shock you. On a quiet morning in an African village, 3 boys took a shortcut to school. The railway tracks seemed harmless, until a speeding train turned their path into a death trap. One boy, just 12 years old, ran for his life. What happened next was nothing short of a miracle. How it started. In a village where children from poor homes often walked miles to school, 3 boys decided to take the railway as a shortcut. Among them was Chima, the youngest, just 12 years old, from a moderate family. He was handsome and friendly, with learned parents, father a lecturer abroad and mother a teacher in the secondary school. On a lonely railway, where silence hides danger and one wrong step could mean death. This is the close shave that changed a young boy's life forever. One quiet morning in a small African village, 3 boys set off for school. The sun was just rising, birds chirped faintly, and the air carried the smell of fresh dew. The boys were Ndudi, Kelechi, and Chima, with Chima being the youngest, only 12 years old. The railway track was their shortcut. To them, it was fun, a faster way, and adventure. But to the elders of the village, it was a forbidden path, dangerous, lonely, and cursed. Chima, unlike his friends, did not belong there. His father, Tagbo, was a respected lecturer working abroad, and his mother a secondary school teacher. He came from comfort. A Mercedes-Benz sat in the compound, bought for their school runs. Yet here he was, trekking with his friends along a deadly railway. Why? Because his mother, beautiful but wayward, cared more for herself than for her children. She spent her husband's money on parties, expensive clothes, and secret affairs with her husband's friends and other men in hotels. The car meant for her children's school run was instead used to ferry her relatives and her friends to weddings, burials, and drinking spots. Chima often told Ndudi and Kelechi about it as they walked to school. Truly, he had no business in such a road, trekking to school with his not-so-comfortable friends Ndudi and Kelechi. But that was his fate, coming from a home where his father was out of the county working and left with his mother, who cared little for her kids, but would rather indulge in sleeping with her husband's friends in their home and her friend's husband in hotels, caring less about what people think, disgracing the family without care. He often told his friends Ndudi and Kelechi about his lack of care from his mother, not because the father didn't provide, but that she spent the money on taking care of herself expensively and attending various parties and events, and was seldom at home. She left them to the care of her siblings, who lived a rough life too, like his mother. My father sends us money, but Mama spends it on herself. She doesn't even care if we eat. His friends would shake their heads. Sometimes they teased him. Ndudi laughed. Ah, Chima, if your father is rich, why are you suffering with us? Kelechi added, run faster, before this railway swallows you. They laughed, running ahead of him. He even told his friends that one of his mother's friends, an old woman, tried to rape him when he was kept in her care by her mother. His two friends, slightly older, teased him as they walked in the railway to school, saying he was slow, that he should try and hasten his steps, and they laughed, enjoying their movement. The railway path was dangerous, scared. Chima forced a smile, but deep inside, he carried pain. The train appears. The railway stretched endlessly before them, iron, sharp, and cold. On one side, a deep ditch yawned, filled with sharp rocks, snakes, and wild grasses that seemed to wave hungrily in the morning breeze. Suddenly, a sound pierced the silence. Doom! Doom! A train horn. At first faint, then louder, closer, thunder on steel. The ground trembled beneath their feet. The boys froze. Their laughter vanished. Panic seized them. Train or? Ndudi screamed. Run! Run! Shouted Kelechi. The train was rushing fast, its shadow growing larger. They dashed forward. But the railway suddenly narrowed into a death trap, a stretch where the track hung over the ditch. If anyone slipped, they would fall into the pit of no return. Kelechi and Ndudi, being older, sprinted quickly ahead. But poor Chima was slower, his small legs struggling. He ran, heart pounding like a drum in his chest, sweat stinging his eyes. Behind him, the roar of the train grew like a monster chasing him. The hole in the track. Just when he thought it couldn't get worse, he saw it. A large hole in the track itself. The iron rail had broken, leaving a gaping space right above the ditch. One wrong step, and he would plunge into the deadly pit. Chima's breath caught in his throat. His mind screamed, this is it, this is how I die. The train's horn blared again, deafening. Tears filled his eyes. Saw it, a large hole on the track itself. Just one wrong step, and he would plunge into the ditch below. The train's sound blowing stronger. He was so afraid. He cried, shouting, Oluwa, help me. The train was seconds away. He leapt, his small feet barely missing the hole. Behind him, his friends screamed, urging him on. The ground shook as the train thundered past, its whine nearly sweeping him into the pit. Somehow, he survived. He cried out, Oluwa, help me. With all the strength in his tiny body, he leapt, his feet barely missing the hole. For a moment, time stood still. His friends screamed his name in terror. The wind of the train roared past, almost sweeping him into the ditch. The ground shook violently as the train thundered by, sparks flying from its wheels. But somehow, miraculously, Chima survived. At school, he was too shaken to focus. He kept hearing the horn, seeing the hole, feeling the wind of death brush past him. When he returned home, he told his siblings about it. They trembled in fear, clutching him. But their mother? She wasn't home. She had traveled to attend the burial of her friend's father. Their aunts, left to watch over them, didn't care either. They were busy gossiping with boyfriends in the living room. For Chima, it was another wound. The railway almost took his life, and his own mother wasn't there to care. Sad and desperate, he went to Mr. Akon, his father's close friend. A kind man who always checked on the children. Chima poured out everything, the train, his mother's neglect, even how one of his mother's older friends once tried to abuse him when left in her care. Mr. Akon was shocked. He handed Chima the phone. Tell your father yourself. Let him hear it from you. Chima's small voice trembled as he spoke. Papa. Mama doesn't care for us. Today I almost died on the railway. The father's return. Tagbo, his father, was far away abroad. But as he listened to his son's voice, his heart shattered. He dropped the phone, pacing his room, tears in his eyes. That very day, he booked a flight. When he returned, the whole community felt his anger. He was strict, disciplined, respected, and now betrayed. He sat with Mr. Akon, who told him everything he had seen about his wife's behavior. Neighbors whispered their own accounts. Some even showed him photographs of her at parties and hotels. One man, innocent, came forward, ashamed. Close shave with death. That day on the railway, it became clear. A mother's carelessness had almost cost a child his life. When he went home after school that day and told his siblings they were scared, their mum was not around. She had went for her friend father's burial, and the aunts that they were kept in custody of weren't concerned. They were rather gisting with their friends and boyfriends. Sad. He went to meet Mr. Akon, his father's friend, and told him he was a good man and cared for them. The man then called his father on the phone and gave the phone to the boy to tell him, and he did. Mr. Chima's father Tagbo was a strict, disciplined good man and very hardworking and well respected in the society. When Chima's father Tagbo heard this, he was sad and worried, so he hurriedly returned from abroad. He was furious. Not only because his son had almost died, but because all this could have been avoided if the mother had cared properly for the children. Using the resources like the vehicle C-Class Mercedes-Benz 300 month for their school runs for his kids. When he hanged out with Mr. Akon on his return to Nigeria, Mr. Akon told him all that he has been observing about the wife's character and advised him to make plans to take the kids with him aboard. Neighbors and some of his family relatives also told him about her careless lifestyle, her affairs, her selfish travels. Omi showed him pictures as proof. One man named Innocent apologized to Chima's father, saying to him that he was sorry for sleeping with his wife, that he never knew she was still married and was his wife, that he had slept with her 4 times. Now, her husband saw the truth with his own eyes. In a rage, he chased her out of the house. The same friends she had entertained, the ones she trusted more than her children, turned their backs on her. None came to her aid. She was left with nothing. She went back to her village with her wayward siblings. From comfort to disgrace, she lost it all. The car, the house, the respect, gone. For the rest of her life, she carried the bitter fruit of her carelessness. Meanwhile, Chima and his siblings remained with their father, who, though strict, ensured they never lacked again. Though he survived, the railway incident scarred Chima deeply. He developed a fear of heights and deep places. Even as a grown man, bridges and tall buildings made him uneasy, a shadow of that childhood close shave. But the lesson stayed with him. When he grew up and married, he chose wisely. He picked a responsible wife who cared for their children with devotion, whether he was home or away. He swore that what happened to him as a child would never happen to his children. His near-death experience became his guide for building a better family. Though he survived, the railway incident scarred Chima deeply. He developed a fear of heights and deep places. Even as a grown man, bridges and tall buildings made him uneasy, a shadow of that childhood close shave. But the lesson stayed with him. When he grew up and married, he chose wisely. He picked a responsible wife who cared for their children with devotion, whether he was home or away. He swore that what happened to him as a child would never happen to his children. His near-death experience became his guide for building a better family. Here are some moral lessons. 1. Parental neglect is deadly. Money and comfort mean nothing if children are left without care and guidance. 2. Children need protection, not freedom on dangerous paths. Leaving them to trek risky routes exposes them to life-threatening harm. 3. Infidelity and selfish living destroy families. A careless lifestyle can ruin not only a marriage but also the future of innocent children. 4. True wealth is love and responsibility. Cars, houses, and money cannot replace a parent's presence and genuine care. 5. Friends may abandon you, but consequences won't. The same people who encourage wrong living often disappear when disgrace comes. 6. Near-death experiences carry lessons for life. Trauma can become wisdom if we use it to build better choices for the future. 7. A disciplined and responsible parent saves destinies. A strict but loving father or mother can redirect children's lives away from danger. Chima survived the railway death trap, but the scar of that day never left him. His story reminds us, danger often finds the neglected. Parents, protect your children. Wealth means nothing if love and care are absent. Life can change in a second. What do you think about Chima's close shave? Should children be left to trek dangerous paths when safety is possible? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more unforgettable African tales. And watch more of my amazing stories at African Folktales with Ababe. Life gave Chima a close shave with death, and a mother who lost everything to her own carelessness. But from that pain, he built a new path, one of love, responsibility, and family. His story reminds us, mistakes can destroy, but wisdom can rebuild. Choose wisely, because your children's future depends on it. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs the lesson, and subscribe to this channel for more unforgettable African tales. Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for watching African Folktales with Ababe, where every story carries a lesson, and every lesson carries wisdom. If this tale touched you, please like, share, and subscribe, so our stories continue to live on for generations to come. Until next time, keep the wisdom of Africa in your heart. Sir, forgive me. I did not know she was your wife. I slept with her 4 times. Tagbo's blood boiled. His hands shook. But now he knew the truth. The mother's downfall. The day came. He confronted her. She denied at first, but the evidence was overwhelming. Pictures. Witnesses. Proof beyond denial. In a fit of rage, Tagbo chased her out of the house. Her so-called friends, the ones she entertained and traveled with, turned their backs on her. Not one came to her aid. Neighbors watched as she packed her things, humiliated. From wealth and comfort, she fell into disgrace. She returned to her village, empty-handed, with only her wayward siblings. The car, the house, the respect, all gone. Her children did not run after her. They stood by their father, knowing she had never truly cared for them. Chima's scar and adult life. Life went on. Under their father's care, the children never lacked again. But Chima carried a scar. The railway haunted him. He developed a fear of heights, bridges, and deep places. Even as a grown man, standing on a tall building made his heart race. But the lesson stayed. When Chima grew up, he vowed never to repeat his mother's mistakes. He chose a wife not for beauty or status, but for responsibility and care. A woman who loved their children with devotion, whether he was home or away. What happened to me as a child, he would say, will never happen to my children. His near-death became his guide for life. Moral lessons. Parental neglect is deadly. Money and comfort mean nothing without care. Children need protection. Leaving them to trek risky routes exposes them to death. Infidelity destroys families. A selfish lifestyle ruins innocent lives. True wealth is love and responsibility, not cars, not parties. Friends may abandon you, but consequences never do. Near-death experiences carry lessons, if we choose to learn. A disciplined parent saves destinies. Love with boundaries can redirect a child's life. Chima survived the railway death trap, but the scar of that day never left him. His story reminds us, danger often finds the neglected. Parents, protect your children. Wealth means nothing if love and care are absent. Life can change in a second. White right point in backhand index, What do you think about Chima's close shave? Should children be left to trek dangerous paths when safety is possible? Share your thoughts in the comments. Life gave Chima a close shave with death, and a mother who lost everything to her own carelessness. But from that pain, he built a new path, one of love, responsibility, and family. His story reminds us, mistakes can destroy, but wisdom can rebuild. Choose wisely, because your children's future depends on it. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs the lesson, and subscribe to this channel for more unforgettable African tales. Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for watching African Folktales with Ababe, where every story carries a lesson, and every lesson carries wisdom. Until next time, keep the wisdom of Africa in your heart.